Hi guys, it's Chris, back in my cider shed with some more cider to try. Or is it? Is it a cider shed? Is it a wine shed? Is it a beer shed? No, it's none of those things tonight. It's not a perry shed either. Tonight, this is a brandy shed, an apple brandy shed to be exact. So, I've got to admit, I don't know loads about spirits, and it's not something I've ever delved into particularly. I know a little bit about it, but not lots and lots and lots. This is going to be kind of exploratory for me. I've got 4 to try, so I'm going to be rolling back home from the shed tonight. And what are the 4 we've got? Well, some of them I've tried already. This one, you can probably tell, has been on before, and that's a litre. That's a litre bottle. So this one is Calvados, Pays d'Auge, so on Normandy. This one is Somerset Cider Brandy, so Julian Temperley, Kingsbury Episcopi. This is the 5-year-old, it's the green label. We then have the 10-year-old example of the same stuff. And then we have something else. And this arrived today in a little box in the post. And I wasn't expecting it, didn't know what it was when I opened it up. And when I did open it up, there was a card in there that said thank you. And it's from Martin Harris of Butford Organic, thanking me for supporting him this year. Well, you've been supporting me as well, Martin, because without you, I'd have nothing to sell, and you sell some brilliant stuff to me, and I then sell that brilliant stuff to other people, and everyone is happy. So he sent me this in the post. First time he's done this. This is a cider spirit little box Christmas present. Isn't that a nice thing? Made with brown stout and Yarlington Mill, 2 excellent varietals, particularly the Yarlington Mill, probably my favourite varietal, to be honest with you. I haven't opened this. It just arrived today. This is going to be a bit of a shock. And actually, I've never really sat down and analysed any of this stuff. This is going to be a bit of fun, basically. A bit of fun, a bit of drunken fun, probably. So first off, I've also got a bottle of water, because I'm probably going to need that. Yeah? So, let's open that. And let's have a go at the Calvados. So Boulard, I don't know much about Boulard, but I think they're producers, I think they buy apples off various orchards and make it themselves and blend. I think it's 2 to 3 years old, this one. So using French varietals, whereas the others are using traditional English varietals, I believe. Doesn't say what the blend is on this, doesn't say what the blend is on the 2 Somerset Cider Brandies, but we do know what's in the Butford Organics, and that's going to be the youngest of the lot, actually. I'm going to leave that to last, though, just because I haven't tried it before, so I'd like to leave it till the end. So I'm going to put up very small amounts of this, okay? Otherwise I'm going to be pissed, okay? There we go. So, I mean, it's very different to tasting cider and so forth, isn't it? I mean, the colour is very nice on that. Very nice on that. So, 2-3 years in oak, I assume, which is going to bring colour. I assume they don't add colour to it. I mean, some people do with these things. You know, you can add colourings to make it look darker. But darker that comes with it, darker something tends to come with age. Often spirits, when they're young, are actually clear. You know, look like vodka or something. And it's like sitting in oak, which brings them colour. And also things like evaporation. Evaporation is quite important. The angel's share, or the angel's portion, that stuff that evaporates off into the atmosphere and leaves behind something which is more concentrated. Very similar to cheeses, actually. Big hard cheeses. That's a good thing. Unless you pack them. They have natural rinds or cloth. They will also lose something to the angels, if you like, and become more concentrated and delicious. Same sort of thing, but a different product. Okay. Nice colour, that, though, isn't it? Like caramel, gold, amber, beautiful thing. Okay. Lots of legs on it. Thick legs, because it's full of booze. What is the ABV, actually? It is 40%. A mere 40%. Okay. Let's try it. So on the nose, I mean, it's like... I mean, it's quite potent. These things are quite potent. There's lots of booze in there, so it does hit... It's not like smelling cider, because the alcohol is so overwhelming. It masks a lot of stuff, I think. But I feel there's like a toffee apple character to this on the nose. I would say that. Yeah. And actually there's quite a fresh, light apple character in the background, actually. Just very slightly in the background, but it's that kind of toffee apple character, that intenseness. Maybe like... I don't want to say dried fruit. It's not as intense as that. But but yeah, it's a nice nose. There's apple there, but there's also that kind of like brown sugar kind of thing going on as well. Shall we try it? Here we go. So, This is quite sweet, which doesn't bother me. I kind of like that. And there is a kind of toffee brown sugar element to it. There really is. And that's the most obvious thing, which to me is fine, because I love those flavours. However, in terms of complexity, it's kind of a one-trick pony. That's all I'm getting. But I still like it because I like that kind of brown sugar, toffee caramel element, because I love those flavours. But whether somebody who's like drinks a lot more spirits than me would think this was complex enough, I doubt actually. And I could see why they wouldn't. I mean, it's a one-trick pony, but it's a trick that I happen to appreciate. Okay, whew. I'm going to pour some more in the glass. Firstly, to clean the glass out, and secondly, to just cleanse my palate. Okay, so you may have noticed I didn't slurp when I drank that. I think it would come out of my nose. I'd have coughed an awful lot, and it would have come out of my nose, which might have make a good film, but I don't want to be filmed with stuff shooting at my nose. Thanks very much. So, that was the French stuff. Now we're on to Julien's Somerset Cider Brandy. 5 years. So, Julien, actually, this has got a PDO. It's protected, as does Boulard Calvados. Now, it has to be in a certain region, there's certain varietals, etc. So, Julien got the PDO for Somerset Cider Brandy, and he's the only person in the world who's allowed to make Somerset Cider Brandy and put Somerset Cider Brandy on the label. Nobody else is allowed to do that. Just him. Which is interesting, isn't it? But he's got amazing apples. This is, it's a blend of apples, obviously. He's got an incredible variety of apples, beautiful orchards at the farm in Borough Hill. I mean, just probably I think that was the first cider producers I ever went to, and it blew me away. It was just gorgeous. It was a beautiful place. So anyway, 5-year-old. So it's going to be, I think, a year or two older than what we just had, and probably blended from English varietals as well, I suspect. Although I'm pretty sure we will have some French varietals in there. So straight away, there's an obvious colour difference, isn't there? Look at that. Look how much lighter that is. I wonder why that is. Have they added colour to the French one? I think if it's PDO or AOC, I don't think they would be allowed to. I'd be very surprised if they were allowed to. Can't see any PDO on there though. One interesting thing about cider makers in France is they're not really cider makers. They're Calvados producers. Well, in Normandy specifically, they're actually Calvados producers who make cider on the side. The cider is just like an afterthought. It's not what they're about at all. Whereas for me, the cider is what I'm all over. That's what I'm really interested in. I love Kiev French ciders, Normandy cider, the Breton ciders. So my interest is completely the opposite of what the cider makers are, the Calvados makers are in Normandy, because they're all about Calvados. So that's the thing they're most proud of. Whereas for me, those ciders from that part of the world are absolutely extraordinarily brilliant, and I'm all over that stuff. Okay, so obviously lighter in colour. I mean, massively lighter in colour, isn't it? I'm sure this will not have been coloured in any way. This colouring would have begun from the small oak barrels that were kept in. New oak? I don't know. Didn't say, did it? Let's try smelling it. A totally different nose, man. This has got a greener, fresher nose, I think. Yeah, maybe a bit more floral. Almost like a fresh apple character in the background. I would suggest there's more going on this nose. It's lighter, greener, fresher. Yeah. I'd say it's more subtle, but what's in there is much more characterful than the first one that we tried. I think definitely. Yeah, nice. It's not as harsh on my nose either as the first one. The first one seemed to be the alcohol sort of knocked me back a bit more when I smelt it. What's the ABV on this one? It's going to be about the same, I assume. 42, so slightly stronger, but lighter, delicate, greener, fresher nose, which I actually appreciate. I think I prefer it, to be honest. Okay, let's try it. Okay. Less aggressive on the alcohol. I mean, it's there. It's warming. It's 42% for goodness sake. But it's fresher on the palate. Fresher, lighter, greener. There's more things going on. There's like an autumnal character, a greener apple character. And there's that kind of sweetness, but it doesn't taste like brown sugar, like it's been sweetened. It feels like it's natural. It feels more like a natural sweetness, to be honest. Yeah. This is more expensive than that, for sure. But this is actually more complex, I would say. It's lighter, whilst being more interesting. It's more drinkable and more subtle, but more varied. It's actually colder as well, which will make a difference. The first one's quite warm. I think actually when they're warm, the alcohol, you feel the alcohol even more. Yeah, this one is the better. The 5 year is certainly my preference so far. More delicate, but all the better for it, I would say. 2 down, 2 to go. I feel like it's more of a whiskey element to it as well. For that one, it makes me think of whiskey, although it doesn't taste exactly like whiskey. But there's something in there that makes me think of a Scotch whiskey or an Irish whiskey of some description. 10-year-old. I seem to recall that this one's a bit more of a beast than the 5-year-old. Let's try and see. But I assume with these things, I mean, they're blended, I assume, to taste. So I'm not sure if all of the ciders from the same vintage. So there'll be a difference between a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old because obviously they're from different vintages. So they must be blending to get the flavour profile that they want, I assume. So there won't be exact blend of apples or ciders or juices, whatever, in each one. Like I said, I don't know loads about it. Well, let's have a look at this guy. Okay, so this is darker, which you'd expect. You'd expect because it's been sitting in a barrel for 5 years longer. That's much closer in colour that to the first one. Actually, that looks like a whiskey. That one does look like a whiskey in colour, quite a pale whiskey. Yeah. Interesting. That will be natural. That will not be coloured in any way, shape or form, though. Let's give it a sniff. What's the ABV? Before I do, I expect it's the same. 42%. I don't know what their leeway is, like how far up or down they can go. With cider, it's like 1%. So if it's 7%, you can put 6%. And if it's 5%, you can put 6%, if you see what I mean. So you can go 1% in each direction. I'm not sure if they have the same sort of flexibility with this, because of the duty and so forth, or if the regulations are the same. But anyway, let's have a smell. Oh yeah, okay. This is darker, deeper. I mean, it almost got like a toffee caramel, but it's like a burnt toffee caramel in there as well. Darker than the Calvados, for sure. Yeah, there's undertones of the 5-year-old, and there's some elements of the Calvados as well. But I think there's a darker, more burnt Demerara sugar, Muscovado like sugar. Is that right, Muscovado? Have I got that right? Yeah, like a darker sort of thing going on. And there's other things going as well. It's got some more. It's deeper and darker than the 5-year-old, but it's got some hints of the Calvados, but it's actually got more complexity than the Calvados, I would say. So let's try this. Man, that is much more intense for sure. Yeah, and it's got like that burnt sugar, dark toffee character that I got on the nose. So feels less of a fake sweetness than the first one, but it's more intense. But hiding in the background, you still get a sense of that 5-year-old, that lightness of character. I don't know if I like the 10-year-old or the 5-year-old better. I feel like I drink more of the 5-year-old. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Probably not. It's probably a very bad thing. This has got more like dried fruit character to it as well, I would say. And there's a woodiness as well, maybe. Yeah, there's a woody, earthy character to this as well. Okay. They are quite different, considering they're basically the same. I mean, they're not the same product, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of difference between them. Yeah, this one feels richer and more intense, but I think I could drink less of it. It's probably a good thing. Okay. I'm going to have to neck that, aren't I? Yeah. Oh, it feels viscous, more viscous as well in the palate, actually. Okay, so, interesting. It's that dark, it's almost like I don't want to say dark chocolate, but there's something on the back end that's got like almost hints of that bitterness you get in dark chocolate. Let's try this one, the new one, the baby. There it is. So I think he only had this distilled within the last 12 months. So it's a very different beast to the others. And I don't know if he puts it in oak. I mean, Martin usually doesn't use oak for anything. It's all steel or plastic or inert vessels, basically, they put it in. For his ciders anyway. But, yeah, maybe I'll ask him about it. Two great apple varieties. What does it say on here, actually? A traditional cider brandy, triple distilled in copper from our original cider, resulting in a smooth flavoured spirit with aromas of spiced apples and a warming rounded finish. I wish I hadn't read that. Because it's put ideas into my head. Okay, it's quite warm, but let's give it a go. That'll do. Okay. It's quite a long film, this, guys. Sorry, but I'm drinking brandy, for Christ's sake. So the colour on that is pretty intense. It's like it's really amber, that. The most amber of all of them, I think. Bright, beautiful amber colour. Just fantastic. That. Totally different nose. Much fruitier, headier kind of thing going on. Yeah, this smells perfumey. It's totally different. Much more high notes. I mean, it smells like it's. I really like the nose on this, I have to say. It's light and fruity. Yeah, it's incredible. What a difference! I mean, I'm smelling it again and again and again. Isn't that interesting? Okay, on the nose, it almost smells pear-like. And this is cider. It's not better. It's definitely cider. But it's got a pear-like quality, a pear drop quality almost to it. And like marzipan possibly as well. Okay. I mean, good on the nose. Martin, thank you very much for this. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year. Not bad. Oh wow, yeah, that there's a marzipan element to it on the palate as well. I love marzipan, but some people are going to hate it because of that almond character, if you like. But I love marzipan, and there's a definite marzipan element to it. And a heady pear. I mean, outside, but it makes me think of pear drops or something, like on the nose, on the high end. Okay. Really interesting. Okay. I don't know which one I like the best, to be honest. The Calvados, I'll drink loads of it, but it is the simplest of the lot. It doesn't mean it's not totally quaffable. It absolutely is. I mean, I've nearly finished off a litre of it, so it's obviously the case. However, these are more complex. I don't know. I feel like the last two, I actually love the 5-year-old. I think it's great, and it's like quite a lot cheaper as well. So it's absolutely a bargain, you know. But if having done this back to back though, it's made it a bit more tricky to decide. For me, it's between the 10-year-old. I think I'd want both. I think I'd want the 10-year-old and the Butford Organic Cider Spirit because they're so different. The Butford Organic is so much lighter, headier. It's got that marzipan quality, which I really like. Whereas the 10-year-old's more intense, you know, dried fruit, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, that was really interesting. You probably didn't watch all of it because it's a lot of talking. 18, 19 minutes. That's too long. But I want to do them all together. I want to taste them back to back so I can do a proper comparison because taste memory is vague and I would forget what they tasted like if I didn't do them back to back. Okay, guys. I'm going to pour a little bit more of this out. Just a little bit though. Okay. So, been working very hard lately, doing a lot of cheese work as well. I'm battered and bruised. You know, I'm getting on in years. I'm an elderly cheesemonger now, so it's taking its toll on my body. And I've been working like 13, 14-hour days, so I haven't been able to do many films. So the films that I'm putting at the moment, you'll probably watch them quite a while after I filmed them. So in terms of continuity, it might get a little confusing. So it's probably after Christmas now, if this is up. But it's not Christmas yet for me. So I'm going to say Merry Christmas to you all. I think this will be before New Year. I'm not going to say Happy New Year because I think this will be before New Year for sure. But I want to say thank you very much for watching. Happy Christmas to everybody. I'll see you again soon. And until then, cheers.